Welcome, Guy. I'm going to review this preview the Fantasy Flight game's Star Wars Armada. I know many of you play the Star Wars X-Wing game. I myself am not a big fan, but my brother certainly is. I love the thematics, I love the ships, the artwork, and so let's take a look at what's inside. So Star Wars Armada is their answer to the bigger ships. How can we incorporate those? Well, you've seen the biggest ship in the X-Wing game yet. It's this Star Wars Corvette, I think. And it's huge. It's literally huge. You can only play it on the bigger maps because otherwise you don't have the maneuverability for it. And here we have the same ship, but here's a tiny bit. Here's the tiny one, while we have a Star Destroyer, which is much bigger. So what's in this kit? As you can see from the image, we have one Star Destroyer for the Imperials with three what looks to be squadrons, two squadrons of TIE fighters, and on the rebel side we have two squadrons of X-Wing, we have a Corvette, and we have this other ship. It's a frigate, I think. So what's more in the box? You have a set of dice, the cards that are upgrades for your guys, of course, the ship cards, which look a lot different than the X-Wing cards, and I will go back to it once we get there. Sort of maneuverability chips, but they look different as well. You need to stack them up or something. And the well-known measuring track for shooting, and a new maneuverability track, which looks kind of like a plastic snake we used to have when we were kids. So first up, how do these ships fire? So we have So first off we have four arches, the front and back arch and the side arches. The ships have their hull, just like an X-Wing, and they have shields, but the shields are all connected to their arch. So shooting at the ship's side arches will reduce their shields on that side, but not on the other sides. However, once you pierce the shields, you will be penetrating the hull, which doesn't matter which side you're on. Then lastly, you have so apart from these two defenses, you also have the Deflector Shields, which is an active shield and which can be steered towards one of the sides by using a maneuver. So each of the ships has a command value, and unlike the command value in X-Wing, it determines how many actions you can perform and not the order. Then for each command point you have one disc which you stack onto each other, which is similar like the hidden movement discs from the Star Wars X-Wing, where you choose which maneuver you will be doing, and you will be having the choice out of four commands. The first is the navigate command, which allows you to change the ship's speed and thus make it easier to steer with it. The second is the squadron command, which will allow you to order the squads of X-Wing or TIE fighters near and let them attack earlier. Then you have the repair command, which you can use to recover shields and hull damage. And lastly, you have the concentrate fire, which will allow you to increase the power of your attack. Of course, you can understand that the bigger the ship and the more expensive the ship, the more command powers it has, so more stuff can be done. Then, that's in the first phase. After you've determined which commands you will be doing, you will be moving to the ship phase. If we look at the card here, we can see that the card has sort of different perspectives than what we are used to from X-Wing. So up above, next to the Rebel logo, we see the name of this particular vessel. Then we see it has 4 command points, 2 shield, I presume 2 hull points. Then we see in the upper right corner, we see with the items it comes with. In the lower right corner, we see the different sides of the ship, and I presume the amount of shields and or hull that's in there. So logically, the rear from this ship is more weak. Then I think the green things are abilities, just the same as they were in X-Wing. I don't know what these mean yet. And in the lower left corner we see a maneuverability chart. So you see 1, 2, 3, 4 and some icons above it. The 1, 2, 3 or 4 is the amount of inches your airplane is flying, your ship. If you do not use a maneuverability command to change this, it will stay at the current speed and it will just go on forever in that sense. Then if you look above it, you see 1, 2, 3, 4 rows, and each row corresponds with one of the joints in the sort of snake-like device we have. Then you see a number. It's either 2, 1 or a dash. The 2 and the 1 is the amount of ticks you can bend the snake to make a maneuver, and the dash, as far as I understand, means that you cannot turn at that speed in the first nick. So if this had happened, then we go to the squadron phase, and where we move our squadrons to do some dogfighting, shooting and whatnot. And afterwards we do our status phase, where we flip up stuff and recover everything just to start a new turn. And this is then the new way of gaming. So as you can already see, it has a much more predictable way of flying, so it's no more about avoiding each other or doing some sort of sneaky maneuvers to manage to come behind the enemy lines, but it's more about directing your resources, predicting where enemy is going to shoot, buffing your shields at the right time and shooting the right opponent at the right time, which to me personally comes more in the sense of the traditional war games some of us know and love. So then there's also this set of cards. It's the objective cards, the ones you can see here, and they give sort of a mission to your game. So last but not least, how can you build your ship? Well, as far as I know, the first set will come with 1 Imperial and 2 Rebel ships, but if it's successful, which it will no doubt will, then expect to see more ships added to this in the same fashion as Star Wars X-Wing. So if you're an avid X-Wing fan, or if X-Wing wasn't your thing gameplay wise, but the design of Star Wars is, then maybe this is something for you. I'm really looking forward to it. Yeah, and let's see how it turns up to be. Goodbye guys!